Good, I think it's morning, not afternoon. I'm here with Mark Molinaro from FTA, Dave Fink from FRA, and Derek Bars from FMCSA. We're here to talk about SEPTA. This is the transit system in Philadelphia. Our main concern in everything we do at DOT is safety. Safety is our greatest issue and the issue that we focus on the most. So just in regard to SEPTA, over 100 million riders a year use the SEPTA system. It's the 8th largest transportation system by passenger volume in the United States. So it's a massive system. But there are critical safety issues with SEPTA. And these issues are not new. The last administration sent SEPTA detailed reports on their concerns on SEPTA safety. And we now are also leaning into the issues that we're seeing at SEPTA. I would argue that there have been some management problems navigating that safety. And because of that, today we had a great conversation with the governor, with the mayor, with the 2 senators from Pennsylvania. We want to work together to find a solution on how the management can change and how the safety record can change with SEPTA. And so that is in the process. I'm going to let our administrators talk a little more about what we're doing with regard to safety moving forward. But just want to point out a couple of issues that we have in the system. First off, there have been 5 what SEPTA calls thermal events in 2025 alone. A thermal event is actually a fire on the system. Obviously, that's very concerning. Fires with regard to a transit system, not good. So we've sent our inspectors up to Philadelphia. By the way, our inspectors are working 1,600 man hours, and they're doing that without pay. Because of the shutdown, our inspectors have been deployed and they are working without a paycheck because of the shutdown, but they've gone anyway because they're committed to the safety of the American people and doing the great work of this department. Number 2, SEPTA's trolley car catenary system is 45 years old, also creating a number of issues with regard to the electrical wiring being outdated. The third thing is SEPTA is self-insured, and they don't have the resources, we think, for the self-insurance. So we've asked for capital. We've asked them to share their capital with us. We're waiting for that to come back, but with regard to self-insurance, they do have to provide those details. Again, if they're out of money, don't have the resources to self-insure, we have to take additional steps. So we're going to continue to work with Pennsylvania to navigate this issue. But again, before I turn it over to my colleagues, you can't have a transit system that is not safe, that has fires, that's undercapitalized and mismanaged. I'm grateful for the governor stepping forward, saying he's willing to work with us. I'm grateful for the 2 senators and their leadership. It's going to be everyone that works together to find a resolution. We're not here to fire at one another, play politics. We could easily play politics. The governor could, we could. That is not what we've chosen to do. We've chosen to work together to team up and find an answer for the riders of Philadelphia. We could have shut the system down. We did not want to shut the system down. Too many people rely on SEPTA to get in and out of the city. And so to keep it operational, but also keep it safe, is what all of these bipartisan partners are working together, federal, state, and local. And so we're going to continue with that. But again, just to give you some more detail, I'm going to turn it over first to Dave Fink from FRA. But just by the way, we usually only have one administrator here. This touches 3 different modes in DOT, so I brought all 3 administrators with me to talk about each of their individual equities. And I'll first turn it over to Dave Fink from FRA.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The FRA has been on site since October 1st in an aggressive fashion with maybe 10 to 15 folks every day inspecting the SEPTA heavy rail system. So our area of responsibility at FRA is the heavy rail, or regional rail as the folks at SEPTA would call it. Really, the issue with the Silverliner fires has been a management issue and a maintenance issue, not a money issue. All 5 fires through a root cause analysis we found were caused by maintenance issues. SEPTA has inspected 135 of the 223 cars. 2/3 of those cars are going to be shopped because they have problems. They're going to be fixed before they're put back in service. And 18 of the cars have had the final thermal circuit put on. The cars need to have a final inspection before November 14th, and all the cars have to have the thermal circuit put on by December 5th. I've been on the property on 3 separate occasions, speaking with the crews. They've had a lot of safety briefings. It seems like they understand that there's issues and we can't afford to have fires on these trains, and the folks are now working in cooperation with us. I think we've kind of turned the corner on the heavy rail side with the mechanical people, safety culture assessments, stand downs, and working with people to be sure that we have safe equipment that's out there. Going forward is really difficult for us at FRA to have 10 or 15 inspectors down there. These folks are flying in from all over the company and they're not being paid. And we need a program to rehab the current system and certain cars, and we were going to work with the state of Pennsylvania on that. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Mark Molinaro, FTA Administrator.
Thanks. Thank you, David, and thank you, Secretary Duffy. The Federal Transit Administration is responsible for oversight of SEPTA's bus system, its subway system, and its trolley car system. Over the course of the last 30 days, SEPTA has experienced 4 significant emergency events on their trolley system as a result, likely, of the overhead catenary system, the wires that the cars themselves connect to in order to function. That they have resulted in some injury and evacuation of those vehicles. 1 week ago, the Federal Transit Administration, as a result of those incidents, issued an emergency action letter to SEPTA. That requires them to conduct a complete inspection of the entire overhead catenary system to identify the extent of the problem. We believe it is pretty broad. Beyond that inspection, which must be conducted by close of business this coming Friday, we've required SEPTA to conduct a more aggressive inspection structure so that they stay on top of any particular concerns. When that inspection is completed, we hope to know the true extent of the degradation of the system, and then from there would take appropriate action to direct them to make the appropriate investments and repairs and perhaps other emergency steps. 1 year ago, however, the previous administration did issue an emergency order to Pennsylvania DOT. In the case of the Federal Transit Administration, we don't have the immediate first line oversight of transit systems. In the case of Pennsylvania, it is the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation that's empowered by the U.S. government, the Department of Transportation, to provide that oversight. 1 year ago, July of last year, the prior administration issued an inspection regimen and emergency order to Pennsylvania DOT. We have concerns that Pennsylvania DOT hasn't provided the appropriate oversight and investment in both staff training, quality assurance, and oversight. And so in the meeting today, we communicated that, in fact, PennDOT has to, as part of our expectations, step up to more aggressively provide the appropriate oversight. We'll obviously, when those inspections are concluded this week, know the full extent of the problem. But we do have serious concerns about the system and its safety. And with that, I'll hand off to Derek Bars, Administrator of the Federal Motor Carriers Administration.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. On our part with FMCSA, what we're responsible for is the insurance requirements they have for their commercial bus fleets that they own and operate. They are required to have a $5 million guarantee to make sure that they're able to cover any types of claims that they may have. They have not been able to provide that information. I think what came out of this meeting today was us being able to come to a resolution on that, and then to be able to provide the necessary requirements for that line of credit, or they can either provide their own commercial insurance for those fleets that are along a route on 127 in the area. This is 2 buses, and they usually have around 230 passengers per day that are on this route. So we feel like we have a path forward when it comes to the insurance requirements after our meeting today. So, Mr. Secretary, I turn it back over to you.
Again, we're working with the governor, the mayor, in unison trying to resolve the issue and again serve the people of Philadelphia. And we'll keep you posted and updated as this develops. But with that, happy to take questions if you have any for us, or if you have any for any of the administrators. None, not at the same time. Go ahead.
Yeah, Will Geisler here, current non-rail question for you. Last month, Senator Cruz and Senator Cantwell came to an agreement on the Rover Act, which was the first safety legislation after the DCA crash, and also did some stuff on ADS-BN. Do you support that bill, and particularly the ADS-BN mandate?
Listen, I'm well aware of my role as a secretary. I don't draft legislation, I don't vote on legislation, and I don't sign legislation. And again, I've been briefed on it. The two of them did very good work together, and again, bipartisanship, which was great out of the Commerce Committee, and looking forward to debates and votes and see where it takes us. Yes.
Chris Marquette, Politico. What is it going to cost to pay air traffic controller students at the academy through the month of November, and where is the money coming from? And then I just have a second question. Trump said the Gateway project is terminated. You said
does anybody have any questions on SEPTA? I'll take your questions on anything else. Just one second. We'll come to other questions. Any SEPTA questions for us? Yes.
Sam Jones, Pittsburgh Post is that. What changed in the last couple of weeks between your letter that was pretty critical of the governor and SEPTA leadership and meetings?
Well, listen, I have been critical of the management of SEPTA. It's been very concerning. But, you know, I thought the best approach is to reach out to the governor. I called him. We had a good conversation. And I thought if we're going to get better results, the two of us working together with the two senators and the mayor is the best approach. And again, we're here to help and serve folks in Philadelphia, make sure the system is safe. And so I reached out to him. He told me he didn't love my letter. I said the first draft was a lot tougher than the one I sent him. So he got a nicer letter from me than I had originally drafted. We are frustrated, but again, he's willing to partner with me. I'm willing to partner with him. The senators are completely engaged, which is really helpful. And even the mayor has been a fantastic partner. So this is the best approach on how we're going to navigate this crisis in Philly. But by the way, this did not happen in the last 2 weeks. This didn't happen in this administration. This has been going on for a very long time. And I think maybe some just accepted it, that this is okay. This is what Philly deserves. And I do think Philly deserves something better out of their transit system and a safer system at least.
Did that conversation include the long-term funding issues that he's been trying to resolve through the state budget stalemate that's going on in Pennsylvania right now?
Everyone wants to talk to me about money, but again, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania has to figure out their funding mechanisms, but they also have to deal with the management of the system. And we're happy to have all kinds of conversations with them, but they have to get their house in order first, management-wise and dollar-wise, and then we'll have a continual conversation with the team.
Chase Williams, Fox Business. There were a lot of viral videos yesterday from across the country, in particular Houston, people reporting 4 hours delays at TSA. On that note, about 30 days into the last shutdown is kind of when we reached, the system maybe reached a breaking point. How close are we at this time?
That's a good question. So you saw in the system yesterday, we have long lines with TSA. By the way, TSA falls under Homeland Security, but TSA workers are not being paid. Air traffic controllers aren't being paid. I have asked air traffic controllers continuously to come to work. It's their responsibility, it's their job. And I got to tell you, the performance of air traffic controllers in this shutdown, I think, has been far better than past shutdowns. So I'm grateful to them. But make no mistake, the longer this goes on, every day these hardworking Americans have bills they have to pay, and they're being forced to make decisions and choices. Do they go to work as an air traffic controller, or do they have to find a different job to get resources, money, to put food on their table, to put gas in their car. And as every day goes by, I think the problem is going to only get worse, not better. I hope that Democrats come to their senses and end this shutdown. I don't even know what they're asking for. I have no idea. What is the shutdown over? I don't know. Do they want to negotiate? They want I don't know what they want. And they say they have leverage by the shutdown, but they're getting leverage by way of hurting the American people. And I'm frustrated by it because, again, I look across our system, a system I have worked really hard to make safer. I've worked really hard to bring in more air traffic controllers, more into our academy, more into our training system in our towers and centers. And this does not help us resolve that problem. This makes this problem only worse. What also concerns me, people always ask me, is the system safe? And I would tell you, yes, the system's safe, and it wasn't, we would shut it down. We delay flights. We cancel or tell airlines to cancel flights if we don't have enough controllers to effectively and safely manage our skies. But with this shutdown, it would be dishonest to say that more risk is not injected into the system. There is more risk in the system. You do have a controller who is certified to maybe work 2 positions, but traditionally they'll only work 1. But they have to work those 2 positions because their colleagues have called in sick, or they're waiting tables, or they're driving Uber. And by the way, our air traffic controllers should not drive Uber. They should not wait tables. They should be controlling our skies, keeping our passengers safe. But they're being forced to make really challenging decisions because of what I think is a senseless shutdown. Hopefully this will end soon.
Just to follow up quickly, if the shutdown ends, how long will that impact be on the travel industry as we move into the holiday season?
So my hope is that we will recover pretty quickly. Controllers will start to come back to work, hopefully quickly. Scott Kirby from United thought that there could be a rebound relatively quickly with the bookings. But what will last is my pipeline for air traffic controllers. I think the president has said, and I agree with him, we want the best and the brightest air traffic controllers. I think he said we want MIT graduates as our air traffic controllers. But these young people have a choice to make. Do they want to go into a profession where they can have a shutdown and they cannot be paid? That has affected our pipeline. And so long after you all stop reporting on this shutdown, I'm going to deal with the consequences and the commitments I've made to improve our pipeline for air traffic controllers. By the way, we're up 20% this year alone from the previous year, which is great, but this will have an impact. So I think open up, more controllers come to work the next day, and we'll see immediate results. Just one point I'll make on this as well. The controllers got 90% of one payment, 80 to 90% of one payment. They missed the second paycheck. On Thursday, they get an email pay stub that'll show what their next payment is going to be. So this Thursday, they'll get an email that shows that their pay stub is a big fat 0. Many of the controllers said, a lot of us can navigate missing one paycheck. Not everybody, but a lot of us can. None of us can manage missing 2 paychecks. So if you bring us to a week from today, Democrats, you will see mass chaos, you will see mass flight delays, you'll see mass cancellations, and you may see us close certain parts of the airspace because we just cannot manage it because we don't have the air traffic controllers. And that was a really long answer to your question. Yes.
Just to follow up Dave Sherrison for words on that last comment. Last Friday was a really rough day for the airspace, right? 80% of controllers are out in New York. There was, I think ZNY was down to 1 supervisor at one point. How concrete are those contingency plans to have to close some airspace if things get worse? And maybe you could also speak to this integrator meeting you had yesterday and how close are you to picking the integrator?
So we can move some of the management to other facilities. We can get help from other facilities to keep the airspace somewhat functioning. But again, we have our managers, and the FAA and us will close the airspace down. We will restrict the airspace when we feel it's not safe. We had a great meeting yesterday with our 2 integrator firms, 2 great companies or coalitions of companies that have presented to us We hope in short order to make a decision on who's going to lead the project forward. Again, this is phase one of the project. We had $12.5 billion out of the 31.5 that I actually need. So, but this is critical. We're gonna switch from analog to digital. A lot of people have already done this. A lot in government have already done this. A lot of businesses have done this. We have to do it, and we have to do it while keeping the airspace safe, not breaking it. And so we feel pretty good on the plan that we have, and we have two great options. So again, in short order, we hope to select that integrate. I'll do your question from Politico again real quick. Then we'll wrap.
What is it gonna cost to pay 18 students at the academy through November? And where are you pulling that money?
Yeah, the exact number and where from, I can get back to you on that. So just to be clear for everyone, our students at the academy get a stipend. We want them to be fully engaged in their training. They get a stipend to live while they go through the academy. We've worked very hard to make sure they have those resources, because if they don't have the stipend, they'll walk on us, and that'll be catastrophic for our pipeline of bringing new controllers into the system. So I can get back to you on where we found the money and how much the stipend is. It's not a lot, but again, it's subsistence as they navigate their training. Real quick.
Really quickly, as we go further into the shutdown, are there any contingency or emergency funds that could be used to help these air traffic controllers out?
I wish there was funds I could pull. This is the very nature of a shutdown. We don't have money, right? We've tried to pull every dollar we can for different programs that are where we're legally allowed to pull and fund. But the truth is, the law doesn't allow me to say the Congress hasn't funded the government. I can just go find money and pay air traffic controllers. I'm just gonna do that. That's not the way our Constitution works and our government works. And so the easy answer is have a vote. Give us the votes in the Senate and fund the government. There's plenty of time to negotiate. You can negotiate for months. You can introduce a bill. You can debate the bill. You can get a vote on a bill. That's the way it works. Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. They didn't do a Schoolhouse Rock on shutdowns and leverage and get your way when you lost elections. That's not the way it works. There's a system to do it. Democrats should use that system and not think that because they can shut the government down, they can blackmail Republicans and get what they want. They should be able to introduce bills. They should be able to debate those bills and be able to vote on those bills. But that doesn't mean they get their way. And shutting the government down is just a really painful way to stomp your feet and pound your fists because you're angry. But in the end, it's never going to work for them because that's not the process.
Really quickly, I know you spoke to Senator Fetterman. Have you spoken to any other Democrats about the shutdown and relayed your concerns about what could happen in the industry?
I think I've talked to a number of Democrat senators. I'll ask them when they're going to open it back up. I have a good conversation with them. I get along well with the Democrats. And they don't give me a good answer. I don't think they know when they plan on opening up the government. But hopefully it's going to be sooner rather than later. And again, we're dealing with SNAP. But this is, I think, one of the greatest issues we face is in air traffic. And there's mass frustration. And again, we do all we can to manage the situation that's been given to us. And the last thing I'll say is I truly am grateful for our controllers. You've heard me maybe say this before, we have a crappy system. It's old, right? We're gonna rebuild it. It's gonna be brand new. But we have the safest, most efficient airspace in the world. Not because of that equipment, because the men and women who sit in those towers, TRACONs, and centers and keep our system safe, keep it efficient, and those are the very people Democrats have refused to pay. I find it unacceptable, and Democrats should do their job. Fund the government, open it up, and let's get back to work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Trump said